Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, Darrell Owens, and this is another episode of One on One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and on Bowie Television in Bowie, Maryland. Look, we're excited to be here today because the playoffs are officially in full swing. We had a great wild card weekend. Well, maybe not great wild card weekend, but there were maybe one game that was truly two games that were like semi-competitive. But we got playoff football, and now we know who's going into the divisional round. We got just a lot to get into here on 101. Let's go ahead and rock this bad boy out. I'm excited to talk about this week and what we have in store for the divisional weekend. This is Darrell Owens, Bowie Television, Legacy Maker Sports Network, 101 coming on now on your TV screen.
One, 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 one. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to One-on-One at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 124 of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television. We're so glad to be with you because look, here's the deal. We're in the playoffs now. Wild card weekend just happened this past weekend, and like I said a little bit before, maybe not the greatest weekend in a lot of people's eyes. It did, if you're a football fan, obviously you love football, you love the playoffs, you're excited just because the playoffs are on to see who is going to make it to the Super Bowl. But it was a little bit of a blowout weekend per se. A lot of games were blowouts. We didn't see any close matchups now, except for one. There was one other one that may have been like semi in the mix, but everything else was a blowout. And it was a little sad because I didn't expect it to be that way this weekend. I really thought a couple of these games might have been a little bit tighter. Some of them were a little bit better going through, certain periods. So it really just depends on, it really just depends on. But anyway, with that being said, we got a lot to get into, and let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's jump into the playoffs. What happened last week? So we start off with the Texans and the Browns, a game that out of nowhere started off great. I mean, it was a back and forth contest, and everybody was kind of looking like, oh, we about to have a shootout on our hands, and that's the way it was. And for me, I just said to myself, like, man, this is about to be something. And then we saw two teams just kind of getting at it. And then all of a sudden, the Browns just fell apart. And it was 10-7 at the end of the first quarter, and then they went into halftime with the score of 24-14. There was a couple pick sixes involved in this contest, and the magic that Flacco had been bringing to this team kind of faded in that second half, and we got a chance to see a Texans team who are on fire right now and are doing really, really, really good things. And I'm just, all I can really say is that I'm proud of CJ Stroud, because when we saw CJ Stroud really come out, and it was a delight to see per se, but he had himself a really good game. They did lose Noah Brown in the contest due to injury. Singletary had 13 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins had 6 receptions for 96 yards and a TD. And that Brevin Jordan touchdown along the sideline felt like it was a little bit of a backbreaker for this Browns team. So the Browns team in this season excuse me, with unfortunately a seventh loss on the season, and they will head to the off season. They did fire a couple of people on the offensive front yesterday, notably the running back coach Stump Mitchell, which was kind of surprising me, especially after you saw the injuries that this Browns team went through at running back, and then they were able to persevere. I thought Hunt and also Jerome Ford did a pretty good job. So it was kind of interesting that was the case. Anywho, but the Texans move on. They won 45-14. In the second game on Saturday, we saw the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs take on the Miami Dolphins, and another game where it was kind of tight. I mean, it was 16-7 at the half. The Chiefs scored another point in the third, throw a field goal in the third, then they scored a touchdown in the fourth, but it was still a close game into the third quarter. The Dolphins just couldn't muster up any offense. It was cold outside, and we saw Andy Reid's beard frozen, which is always cute. So we saw that, and we also saw Patrick Mahomes' helmet get cracked. I've never seen a helmet break like that. It wasn't completely split down the middle or nothing, but it was still broken, and it was a very interesting thing to see. But that helmet's definitely going to Canton. That helmet's definitely going to Canton if it's not already there. But we saw Kansas City go in, get the 26-7 victory over Miami, which I don't think a lot of people were surprised about. I think everybody had Kansas City winning this matchup. Just didn't think the Dolphins would be able to handle the weather. There was even a meme out there where they had Coach Mike McDaniel, and they had him side with the gentleman from from Digital Underground, and so it was a tough weekend for the Dolphins, but I think a lot of Dolphins fans kind of knew how this one was going to go. I think they would even understand how this one was going to go, but Kansas City moves on. In the first NFC matchup on Sunday, we saw the Green Bay Packers shock myself and shock the world with a 48-32 victory over Dallas. Now, and this is not a slight at Dallas, but this game was a lot. This game wasn't as close as that score may indicate. And yeah, it was 16 points, but Green Bay was up at 1.48 to 16, and they were cruising. And the defense played well. They had 2 interceptions, one going back for a pick six. Aaron Jones, phenomenal day. 3 touchdowns on the ground, 118 yards, and 21 carries. And I've said for months on Green and Gold Over Everything, which you can check out on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, that Jones is the catalyst to this team. This team will be as good as Aaron Jones, helps them to be. And if he gets going, it really makes the defense concentrate on him, and it opens up everything else for Jordan Love. And that's what we've seen the last 3 games, and especially in this game against Dallas. And now Green Bay officially has more wins in Texas Stadium or an AT&T Stadium than the Dallas Cowboys do in the playoffs. And, they're 6-0 in Dallas all time, including the Super Bowl victory. So kudos to Green Bay, but they got a tough matchup next week. They're going to take on the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers. And if they want to move on, they're going to have to exercise the demon, because the 49ers definitely have their number. In the Sunday game, I think I said Saturday earlier, but this is the Sunday matchups. In the later Sunday game, we saw the Detroit Lions get their first playoff win in 30 years in a tough matchup against their former quarterback, Matt Stafford, and the Los Angeles Rams. There was a couple of fans saying there was some calls that a little bit questionable late, but nevertheless, the energy was amazing there from the TV screen. But I had a colleague of mine, Miss Donna Hopkins, who covers the Commanders with me. She told me she was at the game, and she said she had to stand up the whole time because nobody sat down. She also told me that it was so loud, and she said she's been to a lot of sporting events, a lot, Super Bowls, everything. And that was the loudest that she's ever seen a stadium. So there's a real home field advantage for the Lions. So as long as they get to play at home, they're going to be in a really good shape. So I know they'll probably be pulling for the Packers this weekend, especially if they think they could get a third home game. in the NFC playoffs. Next, we head to Monday. It's all mixed up because this next game was supposed to be a Monday night game. A Sunday 1 p.m. game because of the snow, and thank goodness for the fans that came through and helped out and helped clear everything so we could get some of this football game. We see the Buffalo Bills win 31-17. Now, this is the game that was kind of close. Well, there was 2 games that was kind of close, and then maybe 4 games that were kind of close, and they kind of just opened up. But this one was a little bit of Buffalo jumping off to a good start. We were up 21-7 at the half. Then we saw the Steelers kind of, get back in it. At one point, it was 24-17, but then the Bills scored another touchdown late. And, Josh Allen, to me, looked absolutely great. He had a 52-yard touchdown run. If he's playing like that, I really think Buffalo has a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But they got to get through potentially two really big tests in order to make that trip. This week they'll be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, so that's going to be a really big battle. That's something they're going to have to figure out there. But they beat Pittsburgh. There was a lot of rumors that Mike Tomlin may not be back. He even walked out during the press conference because some reporter, which is absolutely ridiculous. These reporters ask, to me, I feel like reporters sometimes ask questions that are unnecessary just to get a reaction out of the player or the coach, which I think is stupid. I know it sells. I know that's what it is, and that's part of the game. But this reporter, this person, myself, the media member, as I like to call myself, I don't like doing stuff like that. I don't think you build a relationship with that player, with that coach. If you truly want them to respect you, respect them. That's a question that you ask, under the right circumstance. And I know this is right after a playoff game, a loss, and she got the reaction I believe she wanted. But we do know Tomlin is coming back, so her question is irrelevant. But the Bills move on. And then we had the last game, the Monday night game, which we saw the Eagles and the Buccaneers take on each other. And now I had the Eagles winning this game because I thought maybe they'll pull it together. Oh, no. It was 16-9 at the half. And I'm like, okay, still a tight game. But those are the only points the Eagles would score. The Buccaneers really just played a good game. Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdowns, 337 yards. And he just got everybody moving, even though I believe his ankle is bummed up. And he still was able to make things happen. So kudos to him. Kudos to the Buccaneers as they move on. And there it is, our weekend. We got the Texans, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Packers, the Lions, and the Buccaneers moving on to the divisional weekend. Now, for your boy, it didn't go too hot. I went 3-3 on the weekend. I remember I made a post before the playoffs. I said, before the playoff game started, and I said, hey, man, if I can go 5-1, I'll be happy. And, of course, we all know who I wanted to, get that loss, and it happened. So I was happy about that. But 3-3, hopefully we can be a little bit better this weekend. But I'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm also hoping to go at least 3-1 this weekend. All right, now let's go into the power ranking. This is my power ranking for the last 8 teams in our NFL playoffs. At number 8, I got the Packers. Even after their great performance, I wanted to put them higher, but still the youngest team in football. And maybe this is just me safeguarding them, and it's probably what it is. It's just me being overly protective, but I got them at 8, and maybe trying to keep them at underdog status. You say whatever you want. It's probably true. I got them at 8, and to be honest with you, they lost. They have lost to the team that's in front of them, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it was going to be kind of hard for me to put them in front just yet, especially after how Tampa Bay beat them when they played them. So for me, I got Green Bay at number 8, but Jordan Love and the squad, they played an amazing game against Dallas. Amazing game. And number 7, Tampa Bay. We saw what the Buccaneers did last week. Great job by Tampa Bay getting the win. They're going to have to travel to Detroit. That'll be a fun one in Detroit on Sunday. At number 6, got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're still the defending champions. This is one that I kind of teeter with. I really wanted to put them above the Texans, but the Texans are playing just different right now. I just got this vibe about them. The Chiefs still, to me, I'm not 100% sold offensively, even with Patrick Mahomes, because we know Patrick Mahomes still can make magic, but there's just something there, and I can't really put my finger on it. And we'll see how they do this week against Buffalo in Buffalo. At number 5, we got the Texans. And the Texans coming off that impressive victory against the Browns. I like what I see. And I think they're going to give the Ravens a lot of problems this weekend, but I got them at 5. At 4, the Detroit Lions. There's an energy there in Detroit, and Detroit fans should be extremely happy, extremely happy. At number 3, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's a wild card in this because they have Super Bowl potential. They have the potential to be a Super Bowl champion. We're going to find out a lot about them over, this weekend and potentially over the next couple of weeks, a lot about this team. At number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. And obviously they were on the bye last week. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're going to, they started studying for the Green Bay Packers during the second quarter of that game last week. And that Shanahan and the crew are going to be ready. They know how important this game is, and they know what they need to do to try to shut down the Green Bay Packers. At number 1, the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the San Francisco team during the regular season. It'd be hard for me to not put them at number 1 until we see how things go from there. Speaking of the Ravens, let's go to our matchups for the weekend. First game to get everything kicked off at 4:30 on Saturday. We got the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens taking on the Houston Texans. This matchup to me is a little bit like, okay, the Ravens should win this game. The Ravens should win this game. The problem is I don't think the Texans know that. And the way they played last week when everybody said, oh, it's going to be Cleveland, including myself, they showed up and showed out. This is a dangerous game for the Ravens. The Ravens are going to have to put all of their strength into this one because I don't think the Texans are going to lay down on them. I still have Baltimore winning this one. But I must say that this Texans team, if there is a shock or something shocking happens, I wouldn't be shocked. So the Ravens this Ravens team with the Lamar Jackson, with Lamar Jackson as the leader, they have to find a way to get that chip off their shoulder. A lot of people see them as a team that could be upset. They played amazing this year, but we'll see what C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans will do on Saturday against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Saturday night game, the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers take on the first team to ever win as a 7 seed in the NFL playoffs. That's the Green Bay Packers. Nice to make a little history there. But here's the deal. The Packers are going to have to do what they did to Dallas, in my opinion, in order to beat this San Francisco team. They're going to have to hit them early. They took the ball first in this last game. I wondered why, and now I see why. And I think they're going to have to do the same thing in this game. They're going to have to get things established and try to, get a good jump on this San Francisco team. But the biggest thing is putting pressure on Purdy and forcing Purdy to make mistakes like Dak made mistakes. It's the only way this Packers team wins this game. Or unless the 49ers just come in this game truly unprepared, which I don't see that happening. This game for Green Bay, probably the first time, probably in this last couple of matchups that I believe that San Francisco came in as the higher seed. No, I take that back. There was a couple of years ago they came in as the higher seed, but this time around, San Francisco was the higher seed. The last time the Packers were the higher seed, and we all saw what happened there. Packers losing this game, it's they lost the last 4. They all the pressure technically is on San Francisco. Green Bay's playing with house money right now. We'll see what happens. See if J Love and the crew can move on to the NFC Championship game. Now we move to Sunday. On the Sunday matchup, 3 p.m., we see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to Detroit. This game is going to be a very interesting one because I think Tampa Bay can win this game. I truly think Tampa Bay can win this game. Now, am I picking them to win this game? No. I think Detroit's got a special vibe right now, and that city is going to will this team as long as they have home games. So I think if they're at home in these playoffs, it's going to be very hard to beat them. Very hard to beat them. So for me, I got Detroit winning this one. Jared Goff looks like he's on another level. Dan Campbell's got them boys upright and ready to roll. And I think the energy in there alone is going to be It's going to be amazing. So if you're Tampa Bay and you want to win this game, you're going to have to punch Detroit in the mouth early, like real early. And if you don't do that, you will be heading back to Tampa to watch the rest of the playoffs. Next, last game on Sunday night, the Buffalo Bills, the 2 seed, taking on the 3 seed Kansas City Chiefs. This matchup has been all in the favor of Kansas City during the playoffs. During the regular season, Buffalo has ran that ship the last couple of years when they've played. So now if you are this Buffalo team, you've got the home field advantage and a chance to punch your ticket into the AFC Championship game. But you're going to need some help here. You know, you're going to have the Bills faithful. They're going to be ready to roll. But Pat Mahomes is playing his first playoff game on the road. He's never played other than the Super Bowl, which is a neutral site. But other than the Super Bowls that he's been in, he has been at home for every regular playoff game. And so for them, they are going to have their first challenge on the road. And I think Buffalo's going to pull this off. Personally, I think they're going to pull it off. But I never put anything past Patrick Mahomes. So this should be a fun matchup that happens on Sunday. I got Buffalo in this one, but I'm not putting anything past the Kansas City Chiefs. So my divisional playoff round winners, I've got the Ravens and the 49ers, both 1 seeds moving on. I got the 2 seed Buffalo Bills moving on, and the 3 seed Detroit Lions setting up a Lions versus 49ers NFC Championship game and a Ravens and a Bills AFC Championship game. Now, I will say this. I'm hoping that the NFC one doesn't come true. And I think you all know why. All right, everybody. That is it for this edition of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and on Bowie Television. Once again, thank you all for tuning in for episode 124. Like I said, the wild card ones are a little bit shorter, or the playoff ones are a little bit shorter. We don't go into as much detail as we do normally during the season, but right now we're ready for it. We're ready to see what goes down. We're ready to see who's going to take that extra step. You know, here on Bowie, we cover the Baltimore Ravens. We want to see the Ravens go far. We want to see the Ravens make that leap. We want to see the Ravens get to the Super Bowl. We're not going to sit here and lie. We want to see the hometown team make the dream work. But they got tough task at hand. The Houston Texans team is no slouch. If they get there, they got either Buffalo or Kansas City, which is going to be a tough one that they're also going to have to try to find a way to get a win in. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy playoff football this weekend. And thank you all once again for tuning in and watching or listening and paying attention to me on the show. Really, really thank you all for that. We'll be back for episode 125 next week. That'll be our AFC and NFC championship game preview. And then obviously the show after that, we'll be getting ready for our Super Bowl preview. So there's a lot going on here in the next couple of weeks. And our one-on-one season is slowly, but surely closing down. And I'm a little sad about it, but hey, it is what it is. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in one-on-one here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television. I'm your man, Darrell Owens. Until next time.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the